Hello and welcome back to my channel. In this video today, I want to address a video that I saw about a pastor in the Redeemed Christian Church of God. I think the name of this pastor is Pastor Gandhi Olaoye, if I'm not mistaken, of Jesus House Parish in Washington, D.C. in the United States of America. This pastor, the video about him is somehow trending in the internet right now. He came out to his church members and to the public because he's all over the place now, and he made he literally like addressed his church members, telling them that God asked him to leave pastoring work to become the traditional ruler of his place. Literally, asking him to be a traditional ruler of his village, which is Ogbomosho, if I'm not mistaken. And he in the video that I saw, he made an extensive post. He said something very, very extensive. He described how the whole thing began, and how the whole thing began, and how people were pressuring him to take the post and position and everything, you know. And there are some things that he said in that video that really resonated with me, that made me actually want to talk about this. And one of the things he said in that video was like, when you watch the video where he was addressing his church members, trying to tell them about his decision, or I call it his decision, or supposedly God sanctioning him, telling him that he was born for this. He was born to be the ruler of his people. There's several things that stood out when he was giving his message. First of all, he made so much emphasis on the fact that he was getting ready to retire, right? Retire from being a pastor. That one was one thing. And when you watch the video, over and over and over and over, he made so many emphasis about the fact, I'm from a royal family, I'm from a royal family, I'm from a royal family. So it's like trying to beat down to anybody who may want to judge his decision, to know that he is not just coming from nowhere to take this position. I don't know if you understand what I mean. Because when I was watching the video, one of the things that struck out to me, this is one of the things that struck out to me, how much emphasis he was making for his people to understand, so that he's from a royal family, and that I don't know, maybe the royal the lineage, the kingship of his place, probably it is rotational, because he mentioned that after a certain family, that is supposed to be his family. And then it was when he traveled home this past Christmas that the king of his place died, and then it becomes imperative that a new king will emerge, and the new king emerging has to come from his own family, because probably it is rotational from the way he narrated the thing. And he made so much emphasis on the fact that he is from royal family. So it's like that struck to me as somebody who is trying to give a good reason why he's taking his decision. That is one thing. It's like somebody who is trying to make people understand that even before you judge me, understand that this is who I am. So I am supposed to be this person. And another thing that he said in that video that actually also resonated with me, that I actually want to talk about, is the fact that he said that he spoke to the general overseer of the Redeemed Christian Church of God. For those who may not understand, Redeemed Christian Church of God is one of the biggest churches in Nigeria that has branches all over the world, literally all over the world. So, and the general overseer, the man who is I wouldn't say his fan, the general overseer, understand what I mean. And this church is one of the reputable, I want to use the word, or maybe let me just not use the word reputable, but it's one of the largest Pentecostal churches in Nigeria, if not in Africa. So, and that will tell you the level of anybody who is a pastor in such a large church should be. So in that video, he also made mention that when he was, first of all, okay, another thing also that, before I talk about this one, that also that also struck me when he was giving the video, is making the his speech, was this. He said that when the king died, people started calling him. A lot of people started calling him, asking him to come take that position. That meant something to me. Why does it mean something to me? For somebody who has been a pastor, who has made his stand known as a pastor in the Pentecostal church, as a Christian, who has been in the ministry for 30 years, according to him, it would be out of place for a king to die, and of everyone in your family, you are the person that people immediately started beginning to call. Okay, let me break it down this way. There is something that, for me, there is a stand that I may have taken in life. Let's assume I've made it clear to people. I'm just using that as an analogy. Probably I've made it very clear to people that I don't, what can I use? Maybe I don't engage in certain kind of lifestyle. I don't engage in certain kind of thing. And I've made it clear to people over the years. Okay, let me just use something as simple as this. Maybe I have made it clear to people that because of my faith, because of my principle, because of my belief, I don't maybe take alcohol. I'm just using that as an analogy. I don't want anyone to get offended that I don't take alcohol, right? And this is something that I've made very clear. Okay, what I'm trying to say, there's something just came into me that I want to use now. I think that might sound much better. In my job, right? I remember one day, because the truth about it is that I'm a Christian, I'm a believer, and there are some certain things I don't do, and I make it very clear to people who are close to me that some of these things I don't do. So I remember one day that I went to work, right? And then they were discussing, some of my colleagues, they were having a conversation about a certain movie show, a TV show. So they were asking, this person was, oh, did you watch it? Did you see what happened? They were discussing it. So while they were having that conversation, I walked in. So one of the girls that was having that conversation wanted to ask, it's not that she asked me, oh, Nana, did you watch this particular show? While she was saying, immediately one of the girls that was having the conversation interjected and said, don't bother asking her because she does not watch that kind of shows. Did you understand that? So immediately that individual stopped. She stopped. So out of curiosity, I'm like, what are you guys talking about? They told me, I'm like, oh. So that other person, I said, I told you, she doesn't watch that kind of shows. I know she's not that kind of person that such things don't interest. So why I'm saying this is that if you are somebody who have made your stand known about something for over the years, more than 10 years, the likelihood of people calling you, getting you involved in that thing is very, 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 very minute. Because even when they want to, when we think about anybody to consult concerning that particular issue, majority of the people who know you will not think about you, because immediately their mind will tell them, immediately they will tell themselves that this person is not likely to take this. Let's look for somebody else. The reason why I'm saying this is this. That's why when he was making his comment, he said something. That's why I said that particular aspect of his speech, I sounded somehow to me. This is somebody who said he's been a pastor for, I think from what I got about him, he became a pastor in 1992. So that means he's been a pastor for like 30 years. So that also means that everybody that knows this man knows or should know that there are some certain things that he might not be interested in. And therefore, if they want to call somebody to make them do such things, he shouldn't be one of the people that they should call. I don't know if that makes sense to you. Now, he said that when this king of his place died, people began to call him. And my question is this: the people who were calling him, were they the people in the ministry with him or people outside the ministry? Were those people calling him his friends who are believers like him, in the Pentecostal faith like him, or people who are outside the Pentecostal faith? That question remains to be answered, because if truly that this man is who people believed him to be for 30 years, I don't see any reason why a need for a king. And why is this kingship thing a big deal when it has to do with a pastor? The reason is this: everybody who is an African, from where I come from, for you to be a traditional ruler of your place, there are some traditions. I mean, not some tradition. You are supposed to be the custodian, the preserver of the tradition of your people. And there are some certain things that are involved in being a traditional ruler that does not resonate well with the Pentecostal church, with being a Christian, with being a pastor. It is just like the case of him coming out to say that he was asked to take this position, and he went to his daddy in the Lord, who told him that if that is what you got, pray about it. If God says go, and go. And that makes me to begin to think, what exactly is the correlation between taking that position, being a custodian of the tradition that involves a lot of things that is contrary to the Christian faith? In what way is that a calling from God? Normally, we know that over the years, when we look at the Bible, which is the book that the Christians believe in, which I believe in, let me make something clear here. I am not against whatever anybody believes in. I am not preaching against what you believe in. What you believe in is what you believe in. You have every right to preserve your belief. You have every right to worship what you want to worship. But I'm telling you that for me, as a Christian, it sounds odd to me that somebody who has been a pastor for 30 years will suddenly be called by the same God who called him to be a pastor to go and be a traditional ruler, knowing fully well that it's not just about being a traditional ruler, but that involves a lot of the, and with my little knowledge about the area this man comes from, the Ogbomosho, there is something that is called Efa worship, and that is, I don't know, I'm trying to find a better word to put it. Without being offensive, I believe there's a little bit of some idol worshiping that has to go with it. I may be wrong, I stand to be corrected. So, but the point I'm trying to make here, I know there are a lot of people who have been called from the position where this man is going to, where they have been called out of that position into the Christian fold. The bottom line is this: Christianity, Pentecostal religion, and being a custodian of African tradition does not go together. They don't go together. They are not, they don't work in tandem with each other at all. There's a huge disparity between the two. Over the years in the Bible, we see when God calls people from, maybe from worshiping an unknown God, as the Bible puts it, or maybe a simple example is somebody like St. Paul in the Bible, who was Saul, doing everything he was doing, being zealous for preserving the Jewish tradition and everything. And God called him out, and he became a great evangelist, became one of the greatest men in the Bible, in the Christian history. God called him out of that and made him an instrument in his in Christianity. So now, for a pastor who has been a pastor in a church like Redeem for 30 good years, coming to tell us that God called him out of the pulpit to take him to the shrine to be the custodian of his people's tradition, got me confused. I'm a little confused. Maybe somebody can help me understand this a little bit, because personally I am a little bit confused, and I'm asking myself, which God are we talking about here? What exactly is going on here? If that is the case, then why should Pentecostals, Christians, born again Christians, preach against, or maybe try to convert people who are into traditional religion? Why? If a pastor can be called, that means the same God that is operating in the altar of Redeem is the same God that is operating there. In whatever that's, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that whatever he's doing is absolutely wrong. Whatever, that is not my take here. The point I'm trying to make here is that these two things don't work together. It does not sound, it doesn't match. When you say that something match, like they don't match, saying that God called you out of the pulpit to be the traditional ruler of your place in Ogbomosho, which I believe, except things have changed, because I know that from where I come from, to be a traditional ruler, you are the custodian of the tradition and the culture of your people. And there are so many things that are involved in it. So many things that are involved in it. So for somebody to tell me, and then he also said that, like I was saying before, that he spoke to Daddy G.O., that is the Asadeboye, who actually more or less gave him the go-ahead to take it. And it made me begin to question. It leaves a lot of question. Like, I'm a little bit confused at that, and I'm asking myself, what is the correlation? What exactly is going on? Maybe as time goes on, we may have a little bit of more of understanding about all this. But at this point, honestly, when I saw that video and I heard some of those things, emphasis that he made over and over, saying about, and he also made a comment at the beginning where he was saying that, that he knew that he's from a royal family, but he was never interested in it. He was making that emphasis, and it makes me begin to say, it's actually possible that this man was actually eyeing that seat even before now. And as soon as the opportunity came, he found a very wonderful excuse to convince himself that God actually asked him to do this. I'm not saying that what he's doing is wrong, but when you're listening to him and the way he spoke it, the way he narrated it and everything, it looks like a speech that was made out of convenience to me. He said, we know some of those things you do out of convenience. Somebody used to say that for somebody who doesn't have money, you can say, beer is very bitter. Beer is very bitter. You're saying it out of convenience because you don't have money to buy beer. Or maybe it sounds like somebody who is speaking from a point of convenience, and not forgetting that from where we come from, we have fantastic pastors who are so good in making people believe what they want people to believe. People can come from, once it's coming from the altar, it's very easy for you to convince people. And when he was saying, before I end this video, there's something else that he said. When he was speaking, at some point in his speech, he asked his people, do you believe me? Do you believe me? So because he knew that deep down it's possible that what he's saying is not believable. For me too, I find it difficult to believe it, that God will tell him to leave the pulpit and God become an Ifa priest or a custodian of his people, of the tradition of the Ogbomoshos. I find it difficult to believe it. I don't know the voice he heard. I don't know who spoke to him. And because he said Adeboye sanctioned it, as far as I'm concerned, it does not match for me. It does not match for me. That is just my own take on the whole thing. Like I said, is that what he's doing is wrong? Does that make me a bad man? No. But for me as a Christian, it leaves a lot of question in my mouth. It leaves a lot of question in my heart. Like, how is that even possible? How is that possible? Anyway, as always, whatever you So thought about this video, you can always leave your comment at the comment section. This is just how I feel when I listened to that video. I saw that video this morning, and I was like, this doesn't add up to me. Whatever is your thought, I would really like somebody, if it's possible, to educate me a little bit more on the culture of the Ogbomosho, what it takes to be a traditional ruler in Ogbomosho. As always, whatever is your thought, you can leave it at the comment section. With that, I'll say thank you so much for watching.